Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you all to this Conservation Commission meeting. At this time, anybody who would like to stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. All right. Roll call. Bernardo is here.
Here.
Wilson.
Here.
Joe.
Here.
Brian.
Here.
And myself. So we have 5 sitting members right now. At this time, I'd like to review and approve the meeting minutes from our last meeting, August 7th.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I noticed it says I was not present. I believe I was.
Yes, you were.
You make that change?
Yes, we will.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let the record show that Joseph Laval was here August 7th, 2024, at our last conservation meeting. Any other changes? Awesome.
I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excellent. Okay, so we have a little clerical business here to take care of with John Shu's vacation, or vacating the seat of chair. We do need to elect a new chair of the Conservation Commission. And at this time, I will take nominations for chair of the Conservation Commission.
I'd like to nominate Nicholas Rudolph for chair of the Conservation Commission.
I second that.
Okay.
Sort of.
Any others? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now that I am chair of the commission, we do need to elect a vice chair of the commission, and I will be taking nominations for vice chair as well.
I'd like to nominate myself, Brian Averback, for vice chair of the Conservation Commission.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Excellent. Now that we have that out of the way, thank you very much, and I appreciate the opportunity to be chair of the commission, as I'm sure Brian is vice chair of the commission as well. Thank you very much. Next up, we have a continuation notice of intent, DEP file number 0610822, the MWRA 28 Rice Avenue portion adjacent to the Linway. How you doing? You turn your mic on, please. Sorry.
It's okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jennifer Doyle-Breen from AECom. So we've been in front of you a few times for this project. We're back tonight because we still are awaiting the determination from the Natural Heritage and Endangered Species Program, unfortunately. They technically have 30 days, and because of some information they asked us for, they have until September 19th. So we don't have a decision from them yet. So I don't think the commission can close the hearing. But we did want to take this opportunity. We've made a larger presentation about the project already. We've had a site visit, but last hearing we had 3 questions that came up from some members of the public, so we wanted to take this opportunity to address those questions. So I brought a handout with us, and oh yeah, here we go. Here are the slides we put together. So this won't take long. I just have a few slides to run through. So the 3 comments that were made last hearing were number 1, about the selected alternative of horizontal directional drilling underneath the Saugus River and why we hadn't chosen to put the pipe on the General Edwards Bridge instead, so I'll talk about that. There was a question about lead levels detected near the project, and then there was a question about whether the project would be including work on vegetated sandy dune. So, first of all, in terms of the alternatives, what you can see on the slide and or have in front of you summarizes the alternatives that were evaluated in the single environmental impact report that was reviewed by MEPA and approved by MEPA. There were 4 installation methods looked at, which are listed here: open trench across the river, micro-tunneling across the Saugus River, removal and replacement on the bridge, or horizontal directional drilling. And we also looked at 8 routes that were in combination with those approaches, those methodologies of putting in the replacement pipe. So my next slide shows those, but before we go there, just in summary, the micro-tunneling and the open trench was dismissed from further consideration because those 2 options had higher cost, longer duration, and higher environmental impact. Then there was the General Edwards Bridge option, which we dismissed for reasons I'll go into in a little bit more detail. And then we had routes 2 through 7 that we looked at for HDD, horizontal directional drilling. Of those routes, just to remind you, there were 2 that rose to the top, routes 3 and 7, and those had geotechnical investigations in detail conducted for them. And then if you could go to the next slide, please, you'll see all the routes in color. And it's also on the next, the bottom slide of your handout, so maybe we're having technical difficulties, but I'll just keep talking because you can see it on your handouts. So again, option 1 was dismissed because that was either open cut or microtunnel. That's the red line on the figure. And that had higher costs, longer duration, and higher environmental impact because it was going to be open trench cutting across the river as a potential option. The General Edwards Bridge, again, as I mentioned, that was dismissed due to concerns about schedule, cost, environmental impact, and also the exposure of the pipe to elements which would cause erosion. Oh, there we go, there's the figure. And of the Route 7 and Route 3, so let's see, Route 3 is the green line and Route 7 is the orange line. Of those 2 routes, we chose the orange line, Route 7. It involves lesser distance of open cut on the barrier beach system, which includes Point of Pines, so it has less environmental impact from that perspective, and it also has less impact on the community because there's less open trench cutting on Rice Ave. And if you could go to the next slide. This summarizes the reasons that the option of putting the pipe on General Edwards Bridge was not preferred. First of all, the timeline. As we've discussed, the bridge is scheduled to be replaced. However, the construction of the new bridge probably won't happen for 9 to 10 years, which is long, beyond when the replacement pipe that for Section 56 would come online. So if we were to put it on the bridge, we'd have to put a pipe on the drawbridge now and then put a new pipe on when they replaced the bridge. So it's basically like paying for the same project twice, which is what the second bullet says there. That cost is another reason we dismiss the alternative. And then environmental impact, because the bridge is a drawbridge, there has to be a section of the pipe that would go down and underneath the riverbed floor. That would be, it could probably be done by jacking, but it would involve a pipe, would involve some disturbance to the riverbed and having a pipe 15 feet below the surface, which is much shallower than the HDD that we're looking at. And also the bridge is within NHESP estimated in priority habitat, and it's also very close to the Rumney Marsh area of environmental concern. So for all of these reasons, it was deemed that the environmental impact of putting the pipe on the bridge would be greater than the selected alternative of HDD under the river. And again, this was summarized in the environmental impact report that was reviewed by MEPA, by the Executive Office of Environmental Affairs, and by DEP and by other agencies. And all the comments that we received, were in favor of the route that was selected. And the final reason there is that, one of the reasons that we have to replace the pipe is because when it was on the bridge, it was subject to open to the environmental environment, and it was very corroded because of elements of nature. So that would still be the case if we were to replace the pipe on the bridge. And then, if you could go to the next slide. This just illustrates the orange line there in the center is the bridge. The darker green area over to the left is the Rumney Marsh ACEC, so it's pretty close to the bridge. And then the yellow hatching that overlays the bridge is the priority and estimated habitat on the bridge. So those are all the reasons that we felt And the state EEA agreed that putting the pipe on the General Edwards Bridge was less preferred. If you could go to the next slide, please. So I'll run through all of these, and then we can discuss anything that you'd like to come back to. In terms of the lead, there was a lead detect in the groundwater in monitoring well 14, which is actually the green dot on the very bottom of the figure on the left of the slide. So that detect was about 800 feet away from where there will be construction on Rice Ave for this proposed project. There is also background lead present throughout the area that was found in monitoring wells closer, to where the project will occur. When the project is undergoing construction, we don't anticipate that there will be a significant amount of dewatering that will be needed for the trench. There will be some. The water that will be collected will be tested for lead levels and other constituent levels, and if needed, if there are any exceedances, it will be transported off-site and handled in accordance with MCP and other regulations. We don't anticipate that there would be any change in the conditions that are already out there in terms of the lead that was detected. And then if you could go to the next slide. The final issue that we wanted to address was just about impact within coastal dune. Okay, so first of all, just to make clear, because it could be confusing, the entire Point of Pines Peninsula is mapped as Barrier Beach. This is just a screenshot from Mass Mapper. So the entire peninsula, all the roads, all the lots, everything is mapped as Barrier Beach. So as Barrier Beach Coastal Dune. So the work for this project in the parking lot of the Yacht Club and on Rice Ave will technically be in Coastal Dune. But the project does not involve any work outside of pavement, other than there's, I think, a little bit in the right-of-way of Route 1A where there's some grassed area, but we are not disturbing any natively vegetated coastal dune next to the sandy beach area. And if you could just go to the last slide. So again, what I just said was in the April 2024 single environmental report. There were no impacts to naturally vegetated coastal dune. The only impact is in paved areas within the overall mapped area of coastal dune and Barrier Beach. That was what was in our NOI as well. And again, just to drive home the point, no work will occur on the undeveloped beachfront or in the adjacent naturally vegetated sandy dunes. So, and that's all I had to present tonight. Happy to discuss anything else. And just again, to reiterate, unfortunately, I don't think the commission can close the hearing tonight because we're still waiting for the decision from NHESP. So, but we're happy to, we wanted to address these 3 points that were brought up last time and entertain any other questions.
No, we appreciate that. Thank you very much. And the type of construction that you'll be doing, the horizontal directional drilling, laying out that pipe in a straight line to test it as it goes in, the route that you chose just makes sense. It really does make sense. So once we get that determination back in September, we can get this all worked out in October, and we'll hopefully be able to come to a finite decision and get you guys rolling.
Excellent.
But thank you very much for addressing those issues and getting that on the record. But
Okay.
appreciate you guys
Great.
coming tonight.
Thanks for your time tonight.
Appreciate it. One question, sorry, go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. Yeah.
Hi. You know what I don't see on this plan? After the pipe goes parallel with Rice Ave, where does it tie into the existing pipe?
It ties into the existing pipe on Route 1A. So,
Actually under the road or?
yeah, the tie-ins under the road in 1A. Yep, so there's an existing pipe in 1A. Again, just to remind everybody, there used to be a pipe that went down 1A in both Lynn and Revere, and it went over the General Edwards Bridge. But the portion on the bridge was removed a number of years ago because it was corroded. So there's already pipe in 1A. This new pipe on either side will just connect to the pipe that's
Would
in.
it be near that area where there's a very small island between the cutoff for the Point of Pines?
Yes, I think it is in that island, right?
That is correct. Inside that island is where the existing pipe is, and so we're connecting at that island. There's no traffic impacts to 1A or the ramp there.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions?
I just kind of curious, so you choose number 7, and when I look at the distance a little longer, I just kind of curious about the details, why not the yellow or the red, which the distance is shorter? And you choose which is the distance is longer, right?
Sure, well, if we could maybe go back to that figure if we're able to get it up, but if you're referring to, let me just make sure I understand which ones you're referring to. So the red, I think, was Route 1, right? The alternative Route 1, not the road Route 1. So that one was evaluated for micro-tunneling or open cut. And so HDD was not an option there. That red one right above the yellow one, yeah, that was option 1. So, you want to, yeah, okay.
It's just the distance for the orange seems like a little longer, and the impact could be higher, and I'm kind of curious.
So certainly you're correct that the orange is a longer distance than yellow. But as Jen mentioned, the yellow was only feasible to be constructed with microtunneling. Microtunneling involves sections of pipe lowered in and then jacked into place. It tends to be a bigger opening that has to be driven. The shafts are much more expensive to make that crossing. So there's a lot that goes into the constructability and the economics. Horizontal direction drill has to string out the pipe, the entire length of the pipe, behind the alignment, and it gets pulled in basically in like 2 days. So even though the pipe is longer and maybe the material itself might be a higher cost, I think, as you know, like a lot of construction is the sequencing, the time, the labor force. So overall, the yellow was a slightly less expensive option than the shorter distance of the orange was a slightly less expensive option than the shorter distance of yellow.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but it's also in the NHESP area as well, the yellow and red lines. So
Right.
that would be another contributing factor why you would not want to do that. Okay.
One more question,
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman. The work that's being done adjacent to the new fire station, that has nothing to do with this, right on North Shore Road now?
No.
That's not MWRA?
I don't think so.
Do you know what I'm talking?
I'm
Grasso, MWRA. I'm not sure what work you're referring to, but we
Where the
don't-
new fire station is being built right
Right,
now.
there's a new one there, right?
They've been working on that road for the whole summer with metal plates and going into people's property adjacent to the sidewalk.
That's
and-
not us. No,
It's not?
No, we don't have any work going on.
There might be
there at all.
utility work connecting the building, electrical, or.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I'll have to.
yeah, it may be that whoever's building the fire station, or I know the city has some plans to do a roundabout over on the other side over there. I don't know if that's part of that, but it's definitely not us.
Anything else? All right. So we'll continue this till the October meeting, and thank you again. Excellent. All right. Next up on the agenda is a notice of intent, DEP file number 0610826, 29 Putnam Road. This is for a repaving of a driveway and extending another driveway that is in the same lot of the house. Are the owners here for that? How you doing?
He's the one who's gonna do the project.
If you could state your name.
My name is Noe. My company name is USA Payment Solution, and I'm the one who will do the work on his property.
Okay. I did have a moment to review your plan, and the extension for the driveway is on there, but not the resurfacing of the secondary driveway. And also on the plans was not included a French drain, the water collection site on the plan. So as it stands, the plans are incomplete.
Okay. I think she has the.
No, I looked at them. I saw the plans, so that it doesn't mention the resurfacing of the secondary driveway, and it doesn't reference anything about putting something in there for water storage.
So the second one is just replacing the existing one, and then we're gonna put like a drain, like a drywall with the 3/4 inch stone, like
Yep,
like 12-inch deep by 4 feet wide.
yep, but it's not on the plan, and you're doing work.
Can we just do it now really quick? I think she has the,
No,
Oh,
we
no.
have to get a submitted plan, something that you can present that when you're presenting it. So we're gonna have to continue this until you have a more complete plan, unfortunately. So you can't begin work just yet. But I would like to see the plans that what you're going to be doing for the drain, get the volume, surface area, all of the things that you need to for the secondary driveway, as well as what you're doing for the primary driveway that you're replacing as well. You don't have any water storage set up for the impermeable surfaces that you're going to be putting into the existing driveway.
okay,
Do you see what I mean?
yep,
Okay, just making sure. So, what I recommend is getting a more complete plan together that you can present to us so that we can ask questions accordingly
okay.
for the rest of the commissioners. But as it stands, I can't accept what you've submitted just yet.
Okay,
You're close, not yet.
okay.
So we will have to, we've opened the hearing. Myself and Lorena were there for the site visit. At this time, I'd like to ask any of the other commissioners if you have any questions about the work that's being done on this parcel.
I would just second what the chair said, having visited the property. You really do need to have a full plan of what you're gonna be doing in that other driveway area, just so that we're able to all look at it and see it, and then when it's approved, when you do the work, we have something that we're able to then look at and reference and say, hey, we approved this, and then we hold you accountable based upon that plan. So if you verbally said something to us now, wouldn't matter. We need to just have it down, we approve it, and then it's on you to complete what you approved that you said you were gonna do.
Okay, and when will be the next hearing, you say?
I don't know the exact date, but it is the first Wednesday in October that we will be meeting again. So this will be a month from now, essentially.
Okay, so by that time we'll have everything ready.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You can email the plans to the Conservation Commission, and we can take a look. If we need another site visit for any of the other commissioners, we could schedule that. But we definitely need a full and complete plan on file with your submission to
Okay.
make this right.
Okay, sounds good.
Sounds
Thank you.
good.
Yep.
Thank you very much for your
Thank you
time.
so much.
Okay. Next up is a notice of intent, DEP file number 0610825, 8 Avon Street, excuse me, apologize for that. I did. I said Avalon, I don't know why I'm flashing back.
It wasn't me this time, so.
I know you did it while we were on site, but, no, let's,
Good evening, and congratulations, Mr. Chairman and Mr. Vice Chairman, and everybody else. How are you?
let me just, open the
sorry.
hearing here for this, and, take it away, sir.
Okay. For the record, Pete Blaisdell from Williams and Sparagus, project engineer, and with me is Mr. Russo from 8 Avon LLC. Anything I can't answer, he can answer. Thanks for hearing us again tonight. This is DEP file number 0610825. DEP just issued a number, I believe, yesterday, the day before. No technical comments were made. The commission, I believe several of members were here with Lorena and the chairman on August 24th for a site visit. Just to recap, this is a 3,900 square foot lot. It lies partially in land subject to coastal zone flowage, so there aren't any performance standards that go along with that. The soils here, as described, are poor. The groundwater's only down about 2 feet. Not very good permeable soil, so that's one of the questions that we always ask is, can we do anything with stormwater as far as recharge, that type of thing? And unfortunately, we can't do it here. It's just not suitable for it. What's being proposed is to take down the existing 2-family, 7-bedroom structure and replace it with a 5-story, 12-unit building. There'll be parking underneath. It's going to be a slab on grade. The mechanical room and the living space will all be elevated up above the 100-year flood elevation that was mapped out by FEMA. There's going to be a new sewer and water connection.
We met with site plan review yesterday, and they issued us an approval letter with some conditions, so that was our first stop before coming here. We have a couple of small things that we looked at, just as far as like where we could do any type of drainage, that type of thing, but as it is right now, and we mentioned to DPW director, because it's mostly about half impervious now, we're gonna increase the impervious area a little bit, but where it's such a small lot, there's only a negligible increase in the rate of runoff. But all of the runoff ends up in the same place. It gets captured by a catch basin at the end of the road and then gets discharged through an easement that goes behind Mr. Russo's other property over to Bay Road that we did for the city of Revere about 3 or 4 years ago. So with that, any questions you can fathom? Like I said, if there was any questions that you had, I know Mr. LaValle was there and Brian was there the other day, and as you can see, it's small lot, but
It's a fairly straightforward process, and slab on grade is, you can't really do much with the surface area that you
Right.
have, and you already have a pretty robust stormwater management system that you'll hook into and be able to alleviate some of the runoff to the neighbors. So I'm fairly confident that you're not going to impact your neighbors adjacent, but if any other commissioners have questions at this time, please.
Hi.
Hi, Mr. LaValle.
The first level is going to be parking. There will be openings
yes,
for,
yep, it's gonna be flood-proof construction. So there'll be openings for free flow of any storm surge.
thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Okay, anything else? Okay, so because there weren't any technical comments, kickback, and because I mean, from what I saw, it's very straightforward, and if there are no other questions from the public, anybody on Zoom or anything? Okay. At this time, I would like to call for a motion to approve the notice of intent.
I'll make a motion to approve the NOI.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, close the hearing. Before we do that, anyways, thank you very much for
Thank
your
you.
time.
Appreciate
and good luck with your project. We'll be on the lookout for, our, later on down the road for, all of the follow-up inspections, things of that nature, and we'll definitely keep us posted when things are wrapping up. If you have any delays, please let us know. Thank you very much. Okay, next up. Next up was an RDA for Irving Oil Terminals. This was to check and excavate for their, for inspections, for their spill preventions, controls, and countermeasures. And unfortunately, they are going to be resubmitting for the October meeting, so we are going to put this out for the October meeting. Anyhow, next up is notice of intent review inspection, DEP file number 0610717, Hugo Rizzuto, 265 Rice Ave. And this was a deviation from the order of conditions plan and what actually got built. So if you could.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. First of all, I have several handouts, if I could.
I don't remember who exactly was at the site visit, but yes, absolutely. Handouts are always good, Hugo. Thank you.
Mr. Albrecht, Mr. LaValle, Lorena, yourself, and John.
Yeah, John Shu. Yeah, that's right.
Final.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I forgot he was there. He's only right down the street.
So the reason we're here is obviously we put dry wells in the driveway, and I apologize, first of all, for my overstep in the proper procedures that we were supposed to follow, which I didn't, and I apologize for that. In any case, I'd like to quickly go through this brief handout. You see there, what we did is we installed the 5 dry wells, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, basically to catch any rainwater from that portion of the roof coming down on that side. There is only one abutting neighbor. That's the one to the northeast. That's 261 Rice Ave. And really, there are no other abutters that this would affect. The distances, the wells, they're basically shown in the photos on page 2. What we did is we basically dug down, we put gravel in, and we put 4 of these flow well, dry wells. Each one can take 50 gallons of water. We put perforated pipe in between, and we put the downspouts, 3 downspouts from the roof coming down to drop into the barrels. Underneath the barrels and all around the barrels, you'll see that there is gravel, and also where all the barrels are connected to each other, there's also gravel under and around the pipe to collect any of the groundwater. Those are the 6 photos that you see there. One of the items I wanted to point out is the last photo that you see there. What we did at my cost is that we dug the foundation of the neighbor to 61 Rice, and we waterproofed their entire foundation, which abuts our property. It's not something that we had to do. We did it as a courtesy to make sure that no water got into their basement, because I used to live there, and I know exactly there are 3 dry wells in the basement that collect water and pump it out, and I know what that's like. So I did not want any water going on to my neighbor next door.
Yeah.
We're on good terms, and I wanted to keep it that way. you know.
Absolutely.
So we basically went all the way down to the footing. We put this drip edge right up against it and waterproof the entire side of the foundation next door. The barrel on the next page, the flow well, it's a 50-gallon barrel. There's 5 of them, which collect approximately 250 gallons of water, which is estimated what's coming down from the roof on an average day. Continuing on, you'll see the pavers that we're going to be installing. You have a combination of 3/4 stone, and then on top of the 3/4 stone, we have 3/8 pea stone that goes on top of that, and then pavers, sand and pavers go on top of that. The paver is a Teco block permeable paver. The spacing on it is designed in such a way that water will flow through the joints in the paver, and in order for the paver to survive stability, it needs to have a permeable surface underneath. And that's one of the things that we, were adamant about, to make sure that that surface underneath was able to absorb the water. What you see there is on the installation guide, basically, this is from Teco block, the installation of the block there. The specs on the joint width is on the next page. And then the final product is at the top. This is what is called a smart sand. It's a polymer sand, and the specs are there. And basically what that does, it fills the joints. However, that is a permeable sand to allow the water to permeate down. I just did not want water coming down from the roof, going onto the driveway, and then washing against the side, because if it rains heavy, the last thing I wanted is any water to go next door. So
We definitely don't need an impact to your neighbors, and then they're coming down here complaining that you've got runoff coming from your property.
yeah,
And that
you know.
makes sense.
So that's basically my intent there. There was no malintent on my part by any means. I just wanted to keep all of the water that comes off the roof onto my side of the property as much as I possibly could.
From what I observed while we were on the site visit, what you have done has made an improvement to the property as well as to the adjacent properties. You're able to capture 250 gallons of water and store it on your property, which I think is an improvement for sure. Why didn't you do it the first time? Just kidding. So anyways, I don't feel as though, and from my professional experience, I don't think this is a major deviation from your order of conditions. It is adding more water storage to the property, which is always a good thing, especially in the area that you do live in. And I'd like to hear some of the other commissioners' thoughts about this.
I mean, I think you should be commended for what you've done. Obviously, it's one of those things where after the fact, you wish you did it beforehand, but you've been above, what I think we could even expect from someone realizing a mistake and fixing it and correcting it. So thank you for what you've done, and if I was your neighbor, I'd be pleased.
Thank you.
Especially with the waterproofing that you did to their foundation. Anyone else? Good. Any opposition to what, or any opposition to this deviation from our commissioners? Obviously, nobody in the audience would be in opposition as well. So at this time, I would call for a motion that this is not a substantial enough deviation for us to reissue a notice of intent.
I'll make a motion that this is not a major deviation and that we should give an NOI.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate you coming down. Yeah, not a problem. And we'll just make sure that we add this to our plan as a, I would appreciate that, just so we can have it on record what was done, if there was any question later on down the road. So we can, everything is all out in the open. But thank you very much for coming, Hugo. I do
Thank you.
appreciate it. Next up is a request for extension, DEP file number 0610760. This is the Redgate Capital Partners, 22 Whitten Ave, and this is the apartment building with the ongoing construction over near Gibson Park. So we don't have a representative here? Oh, do we? Okay, excellent. So we'll give them a moment to join in remotely.
Hello. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Great. So I am Katie Cruz, civil engineer with Hancock Associates, and I'm here tonight with Elizabeth Bejo from Redgate, who is the developer and applicant, and Jim Callahan from Callahan Construction. So I know we reviewed during our site walk that we are requesting a one-year extension for the order of conditions for this multifamily residential project in the Point of Pines neighborhood. The construction is nearly complete, but not quite done yet. So we'd like to request a little bit more time to get that completed. The stormwater system is installed, and we'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
I don't have any questions at this time. As we walk down the site, I could definitely see that there was a fair bit of things that still need to be done. It was kind of a bummer to learn that the city wasn't going to be connecting into your property just yet, but I don't see any reason why we can't give you guys an extension. If any of the other commissioners have any input or have any questions about this? Nope. Hearing none, I would like to call for a motion for a request for a one-year extension to this project, or to this notice of intent.
I make a motion for a one-year extension for this project.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. We appreciate your
Thank you.
time, and good luck with the rest of your project. So we did have some site visits on the 24th, 22 Whitten Ave, 265 Rice Ave, 8 Avon Street, not Avalon Street, 23 Putnam Road, and 40 Lee Burbank Highway. They all definitely proved to be very fruitful, and I do appreciate all those that were in attendance for these site visits. We have some open discussion. Anything anybody wants to bring up as far as any of the ongoing projects or any of these things that were presented tonight? Okay. All right. That's pretty much it. So I just want to thank you all for coming, and I will call for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.